And welcome down here to Grindleford Reserve for this round 18 NPL WA fixture between our host Balcatta and our visitors Sorrento. Two sides whose form over the recent weeks could hardly be more different since I was here on the 5th of June when Balcatta put in probably their performance of the season, knocking off now top of the table Perth SC 3-0. The could barely have been worse for Balcatta, to be honest. 7 games they'd love to forget, 7 losses out of 7, whilst their visitors today, Sorrento, off the back of 5 wins, a draw and a loss in that same period, find themselves within touching distance of the top of the table, just 3 points off leaders Perth. But Balcatta here at home at Grindleford Reserve will be out to make things difficult. They will be attacking to the right of screen in this first half, the hosts, while our visitors Sorrento in their sky blue will be attacking to the left. One of the top scoring teams in the league, the third best with 33 goals on the season. Sorrento coming up against the worst defensive side in Balcatta, having conceded 33. You would expect Sorrento to score, though they can be got at themselves. They have only the 5th best defensive record, so Balcatta will be on the lookout for opportunities to score. You would think clean sheets at either end look unlikely. Such is the NPL these days. It's a high-scoring league, full of excitement, full of drama. We'll try to keep you abreast of all the action across the grounds today as Floriat take on Guelph. And Perth, of course, taking on Armidale as well. Those two crucial in the title race. And, of course, while Sorrento look up, Balcatta will be looking over their shoulders at Rockingham in the relegation battle down the other end. We get kicked off here. Chris Jackson, the ex-Inglewood man, now playing for Sorrento, gets us started. And you'd think Balcatta, as they love to do here at Grindleford Reserve, will be looking to get in hard and early. Put in a big tackle in the first 5 or so. Let Sorrento know they're in for a battle today. David Stoko back to his keeper there. Connor Campbell, the ex-Guelph man. He'll be happy he made that switch this year, given Guelph's current situation. So he looks long down the line. A little push in the back there by Carmelo Jaffray. And what a performance he put in that game I mentioned earlier against Perth. Perhaps he just likes playing against the sky blue shirts. It's certainly the home side, and fans will be hoping that's the case. He was unbelievable, scored and set up another. And then the scoring was rounded out by Amir Jan that day, 3-0. Scored the third, and he is unavailable today against his old side after being suspended. Too many yellow cards for Amir. Sorrento with an early set piece, chance to get a ball in the box, headed away. Comes back out to Oliver Annis, one of the stars of this side. Cross in there from Cummings, and a little flutter of the heart there from Luis Italiano in the Balcatta goal. The ball skimming over the top harmlessly in the end. Thank you for joining us wherever you are watching on the Football West live streams, YouTube and Facebook pages. I'm Sean Fry. I will be calling the action for you today, and as I mentioned, trying to keep you up to date with what's going on around the grounds, because results as we head towards the end of the season become more and more important. Floriat Guelph looks an interesting one, doesn't it, with one of the sides, both sides tipped to be in the race. Guelph have absolutely tanked this season. It could hardly have gone worse. Floriat started like a house on fire, as we all know, and then since then the wheels have almost completely fallen off. Just 2 points in the last 15 for what were the league leaders. They were 10 points clear on top, and now Sorrento breathing down their necks. And Perth have already overtaken them. Long ball over the top there. Very interesting flick on from Christian Jankulowski. I think he had time to bring it down there. As Peric makes uses of himself, as he always does. Chance for Balcatta early. A strike on goal there from Jack Leach was blocked. Comes back out to Nicholas Walsh. Back for Leach. Walsh continues his run down the line. Leach comes inside instead. Balcatta looking to impose themselves early, but a loose pass there and quick turnover. Bit of aerial ping pong. Good touch there at the back for Sorrento as the fullback is dumped unceremoniously. A few questions there from the Sorrento players as to whether or not that was a free kick. Josh Manella happy to let that one go. He's the man with the whistle today. And Oliver Ennis now with the ball in his hands. Wasn't the fullback that got dumped, but he was in the fullback position. In fact, it looks like Oliver Ennis will be playing at left back for Sorrento today, just pushing high up. He man that with a good distribution can put a good ball into the box. Obviously, a lot of sides around the world now using their fullbacks in an attacking manner, and the intention there was to do just that and try and get Ennis in behind with the long diagonal. Sorrento number 10 not on the same page as his teammate. Sorrento picking up the ball here in a dangerous area, just getting in there and forcing a turnover is Jack Leach for Balcatta. Run down the line here from the skipper Callum O'Connell. He points and wants it, gets it now. Has to hold up and wait as he's confronted there by Jackson Tamata. The rain starts to come down here now on Grindleford Reserve. How will that affect the performance of these two sides? We will wait and see. Hoofed down the line there. Clipped into the box by Michael Scafetta. No one there for Balcatta. So 3 points off the top of the league, Sorrento, exactly where they would have loved to have been if you offered this at the start of the season. Not too many had them in the title race before a ball was kicked this season. I'm sure those around the club would have thought they had a chance, but the season and certainly the last couple of months have been excellent from this sky blue side. Callum O'Connell picks it up for Balcatta and looks to thread a ball there for the run of Scafetta. Comes through to him now. Defender is Annis. Scafetta goes outside, tries to cut one in. That one's cut out and cleared. Picked up by Tapini. Tapini tussling there with Morgan, coming out on top, but relieving the pressure is David Stocko at the back. As this one starts to get wetter and scrappier, I wonder which of these two sides that will favour. It tends to favour the side that wants it more, historically, as we know. I'm sure Balcatta are desperate to arrest this shocking run of form. I've already mentioned there without Amir Ajan after too many yellow cards picked up in the last one in the loss to the champions, ECU Joondalup last week. Annis puts a great ball into the box, the back post, a little shove in the back, but not enough to get Josh Manella reaching for his whistle. Nicholas Walsh it was doing the defending, just did enough, you'd think, to stay on the right side of the referee's rule book. But already mentioned the danger that Ollie Annis poses out there on the left, whipping those balls in, and that was a perfect example of it. Balcatta will need to be aware. Whether or not it will be Yankoloshi's job to get over and cover him, or whether they'll be expecting Michael Scafetta to track back and do his defensive duties, will become evident over the next 85 minutes or so. Just climbing over there, Annis gets a little flick on as well on the return ball, but it'll roll all the way through to Italiano. He'll take his time, ball at his feet, and then attempt to hit a long diagonal, cut out by the Sorrento skipper, Tim Hill. 50-50 there, won by the Balcatta captain, Callum O'Connell, looking for the runner, Perich. David Perich scored the second on that day, Balcatta's last win against Perth, assisted by Carmelo Giuffre. And this is the corner from which Giuffre scored the opener. Be hoping for something similar here as Tapini jogs over to take. Giuffre does make his way forward to the edge of the area. Cyrus as well, along with Walsh. Jankiloski on the edge of the area. They all make their runs. It comes, oh, it was directed towards Giuffre, cut out. Picked off by Cornice. He takes a couple of touches, chance for Cornice, great save. Rebound comes back, but he didn't have time to react. Important intervention early from the ex-Gwelup goalkeeper, Connor Campbell. Chance at both ends. That first real save of note from either goalkeeper coming there from the Sorrento man. Balcatta picked this one up at the back. Scrappy, as I mentioned, the conditions here today. Long balls up and headed back, and it ends at the feet of Scafetta. Plays a nice little ball down the line for Cornice. Jonathan Cornice. He had Jankiloski if he wanted to retreat. He comes inside instead. It's with Tapini now. He goes further afield for Walsh. Walsh into the feet of Leach. Working hard there to try and keep possession for his side. Scafetta, who's done really well, Michael Scafetta, and won a foul. Excellent work from the Balcatta, number 22. Just would not give up that battle. He's earned his side a free kick in a position of some danger. 25 or so yards out. We know the man with the yellow armband, Callum O'Connell, is adept at putting these into a dangerous area. You wouldn't think he'd be looking directly at goal from this range. Maybe instead looking for the head of either Giuffre or Walsh at the back post, most likely. It is whipped in. It's a little short of the back post. And picking it up at ground level after losing out in the header is Jonathan Cornice. He can't get his cross in, but I was going to say it's a corner for Balcatta, but it looks like the tackle deflected back off the Balcatta number 10 and out for a Sorrento goal kick. Perth have already taken the lead against Armidale. 1-0 the score there. They've stretched that lead at the top as things stand to 5 points from the visitors here. Floriat and Gwelup still scoreless in the other game of importance. Of course, the third game of importance to the two sides playing today is Rockingham-Inglewood. That game is also 0-0. Liam Barkley's flag is up here on the near side for an offside offence by Balcatta. Ryan McLaughlin rolls the ball back for David Stocko to get things restarted for Sorrento. Well, Perth showing no signs of letting up. What a tear it's been from the Azzurri. 10 points off the leaders Floriat at one point in this season. They now lead and already have the lead. Early booking there. David Perich picking it up. First booking of the day there from referee Josh Manella. Stocko will get us restarted again after the referee writes that name down in his book. Stocko's free kick clipped up, lofted to the back post. O'Connell's there for Balcatta, halves it. One at ground level by Jankiloski. Perich couldn't make the long ball stick, accompanied by the Sorrento captain Hill. Sorrento player down in the penalty area there. Referee blows his whistle, we get restarted. Headed on there by Jackson, fired on goal. Well, I'm sure the intent was that it was on goal. It was a long way wide from Dean Cummings, the ex-Stirling man. Just a sider for the Scotsman. Rolled out quickly to Jankulowski. Jankulowski's ball down the line. I think Perich was the man he was intending that for. He was too central. Tristan Stevens collects for Sorrento and pops it up the line for Annis. Annis's throw in was intended, I think, for Morgan. It was a little short for that. Cut out by Scafetta. Perich. He's had a lively start to this one. O'Connell looks to flick that one around the corner. It's a great ball from Callum O'Connell. A chance for Scafetta. Skips by one. Oh, and just about squeezes it past. Connor Campbell in the Sorrento goal. A little deflection from the stopper into the side netting. And O'Connell will jog over to take a corner. Good start as well by the Balcatta captain. The industry on display early from Balcatta. The signs are good. Scafetta's been lively. Perich and O'Connell likewise. O'Connell's ball into the front post, headed away. Back out for the skipper to take a quick throw. If he can find an option, he does. Inventive cross from the number 4 outside of the left boot. That ball smashed down the line. Great pass there. Intended, I think, for Morgan it was. Just couldn't quite make it stick. Surrounded by navy blue shirts. And O'Connell retrieves that long ball. Cushions it down for Scafetta. O'Connell gets it again. He's everywhere at the moment, Callum O'Connell. Big call on that one from Cornice. He wins it down. Perich does well to get it out of his feet. Looked like he had it stuck at the moment. Uses his body to fend off the challenge from Hill and then gets hacked down by the Sorrento captain who protests. But I think everyone in the stands here could see that was a pretty clear free kick. Doesn't matter if you get the ball if you hack your way through the player first, Tim, unfortunately. Although there's barely a footballer alive that gets a free kick paid against them and doesn't get up and immediately protest. Just trying to dribble his way through a few there was Nicholas Walsh and gets his ankles clipped. And another free kick for Balcatta. Great start from the home side. Just turning up the pressure on the visitors. If you want to compete at the top of the table and you want to be challenging for the title, you need to be able to deal with situations like this. Let's see what Sorrento can do. Ball into the box from O'Connell, headed away. Perich to take the throw in an advanced position for Balcatta. Jankulowski. Very low header one there at the back for Sorrento, and ball over the top by Cummings. Didn't quite reach its intended target in Jackson. Giuffre hacks that one clear and out for a Sorrento throw. Well, I mentioned the league's worst defensive record, that Balcatta have the ignominy of holding at the moment. They also have the second worst attacking record in the league. Just the 18 goals from 17 played. Well, the rain's dried up momentarily here at Grindleford Reserve, but the clouds still linger. I'd be surprised if we don't get a bit more before the day's done. Perich works well to get there and win that flick on, but Sorrento knock it forward, hacked away. Long and into the hands of Campbell. Campbell looks long down the line. A couple of hands in the back again there from the Balcatta defender. That was Walsh. Got away with the one in the penalty area. Didn't get away with that one. I'm sure Balcatta would prefer it that way around. Annis over to deliver the dead ball into the penalty area. The big bodies of Sorrento get forward. David Stocko, the giant amongst men in the box there. Number 2 for Sorrento. That you would expect him to be the target. It's over his head. It's over everyone's head. It'll be a Balcatta goal kick. Still no changes to any of the scores around the ground. Just Bayswater leading Coburn 1-0 and Perth leading Armidale 1-0. No goals anywhere else. And just as I say that, the Glory under-21s have taken a surprise lead against the champions, Joondalup. Sorrento pick up the ball on the far side. In for Roberts. He bobbles the ball back. Stocko goes tumbling. And he'll whacks that first time. It had Chris Jackson interested, but he just made his run a little too early, according to the linesman. He doesn't think so, of course. Lewis Italiano restarts. Clips one onto a blue head. An errant pass. Picked up again there by Cummings. Ball into the path there of Roberts. Roberts looking to go one way, then the other. Twists his opponent in knots. Fires one across the box, and Italiano had to be smart to it. Parried it away, parried it wide. Well done from the Balcatta goalkeeper. Perich working hard, getting down the line. Loves to do that. David Perich doesn't just operate centrally. He can get in behind, but also works really hard when he's on his day. Gets out on the wing, comes short. Good hold-up player. Balcatta 0, Sorrento 0. Round 18 NPL WA action here at Grindleford Reserve. Sorrento eyes on the top of the table. Balcatta peeking over their shoulders at the bottom, and a chance here, and the flag has stayed down. The opening goal on offer for Chris Jackson, and he takes it. Sorrento 1, Balcatta 0. And he flaps his wings, and Sorrento continue their ascent up the table. Well, the ball over the top has caused a little inquest at the back from Balcatta, who were caught flat-footed. And racing away and making no mistake was Chris Jackson, new signing from Inglewood this season. So Perth with the opening goal. Sorrento return serve. Balcatta get restarted. This is just a tale of a continuing slump for Balcatta. 7 losses on the bounce. As things stand, this would be the 8th. Still a long, long way to go in this one as that ball fed down the line for Perich, who just gives away a foul there, getting into the back of his opponent. Back to a 3-point deficit at the top of the table. Rockingham still holding Inglewood as things stand, so that's a game that will become more and more important for Balcatta if things stay the same as they are here. A chance though for the hosts, and rolled through. A chance and a strike. Blocked. Was Jack Leash getting that shot on target. The defender's leg made it nice and easy for the goalkeeper on that occasion. Nipping in his Hill for Sorrento. Picked up by Walsh. He feeds it down the line, and Balcatta look to go forward through Perich. Just holds it up. Opposed there by Cummings. Back to Walsh. Looks to dribble down the line. Comes back out. Cross to Yankolowski. Turns it into the open field so that Tapini can run onto it, find a pass. Here's O'Connell. Lovely little back heel from the Balcatta captain, and another chance here for the home side if they can pick out a target. They do pick out a target, but the strike from Leach was high and not too handsome. Just fluffed his lines on that strike there. Good position. They're certainly creating holes in the Sorrento defence. Haven't managed to breach the net just yet. Balcatta 0, Sorrento 1. Long and over the head there of the goal scorer Jackson. He's got a smile on his face for good reason. Annis with the throw. He'll try again 10 yards further up the field. Oh, what a run this has been from Sorrento. You would have looked at the gap between them and the top of the table, Floriat, a couple of months ago, and they would not have even been your reckoning. Is that ball picked off comfortably by Italiano? But 5 wins, a draw and a loss, looking to make that 6 wins in 8 games. Just showing that if you stick to your task, worry about your results, good things can happen. Perich does well there, holding the ball up, and the Sorrento defender just a little overly vociferous in his challenge. And another set piece from a good position for Balcatta. They've had a few of these early. Long ball onto the head of Connor Campbell, easily dealt with, and Campbell's looking long for Jackson again. This time the Balcatta defence deal with the long ball. Turning away and maintaining possession there well was Roberts. Hill looks for the long diagonal. Just caught it with a little too much instep there. All the way through for Italiano, who gets Balcatta restarted. Yankolowski wants the switch, doesn't get it. Long ball down the line, I think intended for O'Connell, who turned around with a bit of a look of, what were you doing there? They started well here, the hosts. They've faded a little. Obviously that goal takes the stuffing out of you a little bit. It was a really simple goal as well. Just a lofted ball over the top. Forward running one way. Defenders flat-footed. And it was a cool, composed finish, bobbling on the slightly rough Grindleford Reserve turf. That one thumped down the line again, fielded by David Cyrus. Italiano. Back for Cyrus. Little clip looking for Perich. He was muscled off it. Chance here again for Jackson to get involved. Snuffing out the danger there was Nicholas Walsh. I just feel the intensity's died off a notch here, especially from the hosts. Really pressing and pushing in those opening 5 to 10 minutes. The 22nd minute goal seems to have knocked the stuffing out of them a little bit. That one clipped into the area there. The Roberts cross was too close to the keeper. Italiano rolls it out quickly. Scafetta, he was lively early. He's disappeared a little bit. Likewise, Perich. Good defending there from Stoko. Jankulovski. Throw in, wanting it on the chest there was Leach. He couldn't control it, and Hill hacks that one diagonally across the pitch. A couple of stray passes from the Sorrento captain. Been a big part of their surge this season. Stoko heads it straight up. O'Connell wins it, but only wins it down to Stevens. The long ball gets the thumbs up there from Jackson. It's clearly a strategy there for Sorrento to get the ball over the top. It's already paid dividends once here today. Another occasion there were just what must have been inches in an offside decision. A touch there was really poor from Jankulovski. He's given it away to Annis. Annis gives it on there to Jordan Roberts, who fires one on goal, catches it pretty well, but never troubling Luis Italiano in the Balcatta goal. Headed on from Jankulovski and picked off there by Cummings. He looks in a ill-advised turn there from Chris Jackson's turned it over. And a chance to go the other way for the hosts as Geoffrey strides forward. Rolls in the path of Perich. Kept running Carmelo Geoffrey. Doesn't mind an amble forward, that man, and into O'Connell. O'Connell a chance to clip a ball into the box. It was blocked. And it goes behind for a Balcatta corner as they continue their hunt for an equaliser. Well, the goals have been flying in around the league. Bayswater Coburn at 1-1. Glory leading Joondalup 1-0. Perth leading Armidale 1-0. And Sorrento here, the visitors leading by that same score. Or by 0-1 if you want to be really pedantic. That ball in. Chance there. It's unmarked. Was the Balcatta number 5 there, and he just didn't time his run or his jump. That's Christian Jankulovski. And the Sorrento defence was at 6s and 7s on that occasion, just getting themselves in a real mess. Another ball into the area. Again, over the head of Jankulovski. Again, didn't time his jump quite right. Getting in good positions, just not doing anything when he gets there. Here he is again, winning it at ground level now. Trying to feed Leach, but Leach slipped, and just putting a body in there was Jackson. Did really well to win possession, and Sorrento want to counter, and they want to counter quick. Long ball for Roberts, who turns it down there. He's going to look to get it back. Jordan Roberts can't get a shot on goal. That's shoulder to shoulder. A good bit of defensive work there from Christian Jankulovski. Not quite working for him down the other end of the pitch, but he did really well there. Never a serious shout for a penalty there. Just the bigger body in position. Balcatta restart. That one was intended for Jankiloski. He wasn't interested, and it was nowhere near him in truth. Annis picks it off. Roberts plays it for Cummings. Switches it across to his fullback, Stevens. The goal scorer can't make that one stick, and Balcatta take over. Here's Cornice. Didn't know whether to stick or twist. In the end, he twists and goes forward. Finds O'Connell. And Balcatta just really disjointed going forward. It takes a moment of dribbling or deception, really, to earn the free kicks. They don't seem to have a real structured game plan at this stage. But they have won a few free kicks. O'Connell will take this one. Takes it quickly and goes back to Jaffray. Out to Cyrus. Jankiloski. In for Tapini. Tapini for Jankiloski. Back for Cyrus, and that's a good ball from David Cyrus to the run of O'Connell. He can run onto this chance to look up and get a left-footed curler into the area. Headed on goal there by Cornice, but wide of the far post. A good chance there and a good ball in from the Balcatta skipper. Sorrento sheet remains clean. Balcatta FC 0, Sorrento 1. Still scoreless down at Rockingham Inglewood as both players racing for this one on the far side. It stays in play. Turned around by Jackson, and in the end it comes off a deflection, and screaming at the referee here are the Sorrento players. They didn't quite pick up what they're screaming for. Perhaps a back pass. It didn't look like anything intentional there. Scafetta comes in for Cornice. Wider for Walsh. He tried to come inside, but ran into a good challenge there from Jackson Tamata, who's going to look to go the other way. As things stand at the moment, it's just a 1 point gap between Balcatta and the bottom. So certainly hoping that they're done a favour down at the southernmost NPL side. You would expect Inglewood to get the points down there, but what you expect and what you get in the NPL WA are obviously quite often two very different things. Usually a shock result or two each weekend. How about a couple of weeks ago, that 5-0 from the Glory under-21s against Guella? One of the sides that would have thought they were title favourites with all their big signings. But their form has been almost as bad as Balcatta's, in truth. You'd think that they've probably done just about enough, but they are only 5 points. Well, it was 6 points. It is now 5 points. As I speak, Guelph have gone behind to Floriat. So Athena retake their spot in second, ahead of Sorrento, behind Perth. Jankiloski feeds it forward, and Balcatta to spring an attack. Jonathan Cornice just completing a pirouette and finding his captain. Plays a little 1-2 on the far side and clips one down the line there, intended for Leach, cut out by the Sorrento defender. Walsh. Defender is Tamata. Gets past him, gets one into the box. It's cleared partially by Annis. It came back to Perich, but his strike was scuffed wide of the left-hand goalpost. Connor Campbell will take his time retrieving this one. Well, not long left in the first half, about 5 minutes or so. This one's flown by. Campbell restarts over the head of Jackson. Clipped back in. That's been the order of the day for Sorrento. Just these long balls over the top, just hoping to cause a bit of chaos. Not a whole lot of structure in the build-up. Just get the ball and clip it into that empty space behind the Balcatta high line. And Chris Jackson raced away in the 22nd minute. It worked to a T. Annis with the throw. Jackson turns it around the corner for Cummings. He can't make it stick. Cyrus clears, and O'Connell's going to look to run it for Perich, who was offside. The fans here screaming at the linesman, but he is not obliged to put his flag up until the player makes a play on the ball. So doing his job correctly, but getting abused. That's the order of the day for referees. Campbell with the ball at his feet for Sorrento. Over the head of Morgan. Jackson just nudged in the back there by Cyrus. Referee allows play to continue. Scafetta wins that header down for Perich. O'Connell slips and it attempts to make amends, but his long ball down the line is astray. Not a huge amount of goalmouth action in this one. The good news for the hosts is that Inglewood have taken the lead now against Rockingham. Unsurprisingly, they lead 1-0. A little slip momentarily there from Scafetta, but he turns out and picks up the ball. The pass for Perich was poor. Say that 12 times fast. Yankolowski picks it up for Balcatta. Finds Tapini. For Walsh. Tapini wanted it back. Comes back instead. Scafetta asking for the long diagonal. Here it comes now. Scafetta not quite able to get on the end of that one. Campbell pounces and holds on. Campbell long for Morgan. Morgan challenged and challenged well by Yankolowski. Wins the header for Balcatta. Series of headers ends up at the feet of Annis, and then as Cornice goes in to challenge Jordan Roberts in the air, the Sorrento man's boot was a little higher. A harsh yellow card, I would have thought, from Josh Manella. There's no way that Jordan Roberts would have known that the Balcatta player was steaming in, and was certainly entitled to make a play on the ball, but in the eye of the referee, it was still a little reckless to get his foot that high. I'll let you decide. Anthony Tapini puts the ball on the spot now and looks to get us restarted with minutes ticking down towards the interval. Tapini does now get us restarted. Clipped well into a dangerous area right near the penalty spot. Annis clears for Sorrento. A little nervy moment there from Tapini as he retreats, confronted by Morgan. Hill steps in to clip that one down the line. Back for Jankulovski. Jankulovski just holds off the challenge from Roberts. Flick header on there was good. Scafetta couldn't make it stick. It comes out here for a strike on goal from Nicholas Walsh, but he couldn't get it on target. Score remains Balcatta 0, Sorrento 1. The Grindleford Reserve groundsman puts up the railings in the player race, indicating we are just moments away from the half-time whistle. As the ball on the far side with O'Connell, hacked away, all the way back to Italiano, out for Jankulovski. Jankulovski's ball down the line, deflected off a foot of Jordan Roberts. Christian Jankulovski will take the throw now. Sorrento calling for a foul throw. A fancy bit of footwork there from Jordan Roberts, doesn't come off. Gets in and makes the tackle. A few words in the referee's ear about looking for a foul throw. There's certainly nothing wrong with that one. Jankulovski comes in for Cornice. He looks to clip one over the top for O'Connell. Well headed down by the Balcatta skipper to the feet of Scafetta, and he scuffs that one wide and wide. Not even a goal kick. Barely even near the corner flag. It was about 10 yards the wrong side of that. Sorrento throw. Barely time to take it, you would have thought. Picked up by Walsh. Feeds it back. And the final whistle does blow. Josh Manella brings an end to the first half. First half of not too much action, but Sorrento will be more than happy going in at halftime with the lead here. It was not the prettiest of NPL football on display here, but Sorrento won't care, because in the 22nd minute, a little clipped ball over the top for Chris Jackson caught the Balcatta defence snapping, flat-footed. He went through and curled it in the bottom right corner past the out-rushing Luis Italiano to give the visitors the lead. At half-time here at Grindleford Reserve, it is Balcatta FC 0, Sorrento 1.
risk görüyor musun orada? Risk görüyor musun? Orada risk görüyor musun? Değil mi yani? Burada senin gözlemlediğin bir şey mi? Yani parayı başkalarının kontrol etmesi, yani adam çöpse yapacak bir şey yok değil mi? Onun ismi. Aynen. En büyük risk. Yani onun 104 yaşına yerim de. They're trying to spread it around. There's one that's going to one that's going to I don't know how they do. They just do it and tell them.
Hopefully you get to one game per club. So each club gets your.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We I think they try to spread it out. But obviously when there's a big game on the stand, they usually go to those.
I think I might follow you. Or don't follow into the game.
It is hard to watch. I'm just watching games. I much prefer them when there's the other guys commentating. It's hard to watch them online without any. I think that's yeah.
How do you remember?
I don't have them all written down and quick thinking and quick reading. You notice when I'm doing it, whenever there's a little pause and the name, it's usually me looking at the sheet to see who it was.
And welcome back to Grindleford Reserve for the second half of this round 18 NPL WA fixture. Balcatta the hosts, Sorrento the visitors. The visitors ahead by a solitary goal, coming in the 22nd minute, courtesy of Chris Jackson. That is the only goal so far today, and with Perth and Floreat both leading, crucial that Sorrento managed to hold on to it in this second half. Keep those title hopes alive. Only 22 games in the NPL season. So 5 to go after this one. Really can't afford to drop any points if they want to challenge for the title here, Sorrento. But Balcatta looking to pick up whatever they can to hold off cellar dwellers Rockingham City. Leach plays a quick ball out there for Walsh, who fires one into the net. It wasn't Walsh, in fact, it was Christian Jankalowski. Number 5, not number 15. There's the opposite fullback who strode forward and set his sights on goal. Didn't quite catch it the way he intended. Connor Campbell will get us restarted. Had one smart save in the first half, Connor Campbell, from a ball over the top, but hasn't had much else to do. Neither goalkeeper has had too much to do. Though one time Luis Italiano was called on for any dangerous shot on target. Was the goal. That one over the top, looking for, must be the substitute there. I'll pull that up, find out who was substituted there at half-time. It looks like the man who's come on is Elliot Tattersall. Perhaps just looking to get some fresh legs up top. Looks like David Perich, perhaps it was substituted, making way. Mentioned he does put in a bit of work, get around, maybe tired legs, maybe just wanting a change. Cornice clips it down the line. There's Tattersall, the substitute. His opposite number picks it up, the Sorrento captain. Tamata gives it back to Hill now. Back to Tamata. He looks to clip one there. It wasn't a poorly directed ball, but no one was making the run. Tamata wins it down again, but this time it's cut out by Cyrus, and he looks into the feet of Tattersall. Tattersall does well to put a foot in and keep possession for Balcatta. They still have it here, still with Cyrus. A run is made, a ball blocked by Hill. A back pass is just about going to reach the Balcatta keeper before the pressure from Jackson. Tattersall wins the header. He's been involved a bit early on, the substitute. Leach tries to scramble and keep that in, and then turns around and screams at the linesman that he was successful. Linesman disagrees. Tamata clears for Sorrento. Every point matters for both of these sides. A draw here would be huge for Balcatta against one of the best performing sides in the league, as that diagonal was misjudged by the defender. Allows Jankulovski in. He plays it back for Scafetta. Scafetta's ball into the box is headed away. That comes out now for Morgan. Doesn't mind a fancy pass or two. He gave it to Cummings. This ball over the top. Keeper's out nice and quickly there. Perhaps that's been his instruction after the Sorrento efforts in the first half to get balls in behind the Balcatta high line, and that was how their goal came about. You'd perhaps be looking for Luis Italiano to be keeping a higher starting position as he is now. He's about 10 yards, well, there he is, 10 yards outside of his 18-yard box. Maybe just something to keep an eye on for the visitors, his positioning in this second half. As Walsh feeds it in to the feet of the turning cornice. Comes all the way out the other side. Jankulovski comes in, leaves it for Tapini. They go forward now. Here's a substitute trying to get a shot on goal. Blocked and cleared. Hill clips that one over the top. Another chance here, just like before. Jackson for his second. 2-0 Sorrento. He's done it again in exactly the same fashion as the first. The ball over the top. The slightly slow reaction from the Balcatta back four, and another chance, another goal. Chris Jackson has two. Sorrento have two. They continue their push for the title. Well, this run continues by the looks of things from the Sorrento Sky Blues. The Gulls will not go away, just like at a picnic. Tapini looks to get Balcatta restarted. They need a couple of goals now. That ball's well timed, but the run was not quite as well timed there. From Elliot Tattersall, the substitute, just straying goal side of the Sorrento defence. Callum O'Connell passes back to his keeper. .40 minutes plus stoppage time left for Balcatta to find a couple of goals at least if they want anything out of this one. Decision there is a Balcatta throw to the ire of the Gulls coaching staff and players. Throw taken by Jankulovski for Tapini. Tapini. A chance here and a miscommunication at the back. Almost allowed Jonathan Cornice to get a shot off. Sorrento pick it up. Here's Cummings turning beautifully away from trouble and then being fouled. I think just as he was about to strike the ball, he got a bit of contact on the back of the foot. He'll get up a little gingerly and carry on. Tough little player, Dean Cummings. Had a few injury problems over the last few years. Certainly not a man to stay down and feel sorry for himself. He'll be back up and back into the action, I'm sure. Morgan wins that one down. Volleyed first time from Hill. That's a inventive ball. Morgan blocks the clearance, but it ricochets all the way back to Italiano for Balcatta. Here's Nicholas Walsh. for Tapini. Tapini looks to loft one over the top. Anthony Tapini missed a penalty in that 3-0 win over Perth that goes down as the last Balcatta win in 2 months. Tattersall just looks to nudge his opponent under the ball there. Gets away without giving away a foul. Josh Manella pointed the wrong way there, and that is a foul throw. That's a poor one from Nicholas Walsh. Oh, he gets asked to restart it, does he? He's just saying he was too far forward. I think he's lucky he threw it from the wrong spot because it didn't look like a legal throw to me. Here's Tapini. Poor ball. Cummings gets in and puts a head on it. Continues his run down the line. Also making a run down the line there is Jordan Roberts. Doesn't get to either of them, but the clearance is poor and Sorrento will take over again. Jackson Tamata. Will take it here for the Gulls. Cushioned down nicely by Morgan. Back out and we'll do it again. As you were. Cummings looks to clip one over the top. Giuffre comes out. Picks it up for Balcatta. Pass almost picked off. Does find its way through to Leach though. Here's Jankalowski for Scafetta. Back to Jankalowski. Never get sick of saying that name. Tapini for Walsh. Tapini skips around Cummings. And back out for Christian Jankalowski. Chance for a shot on goal there from Cornice. That's blocked. Roberts, really poor clearance there. Pulled it back across goal. Picked off by Leach. Cornice picks it up now for Balcatta. Jankalowski striding forward and firing one. Reasonable connection, but geez, a score from there is all of 40 yards. It's going to have to be a hell of a strike. A few questions asked by his teammates. What are you thinking? You don't get asked those questions if it finds its way into the top corner of the net, of course, but as I mentioned, very rare from that range that you'll find the target and usually require some sort of goalkeeping error. And it's hard to tell what sort of form Connor Campbell is in because he hasn't had much to do. A couple of smart saves in the first half, in truth, but not much more than that. Tamata wins it now for Cummings and another one over the top and just about again. It was almost a hat-trick of identical goals there from Chris Jackson. These Balcatta defence really needs to be alive to that. They've just been caught out too many times. That ball down the line and Tamata getting in, conceding a throw. Walsh will take. And the ball intended for O'Connell, and his body language just tells the story at the moment. The shrugged shoulders, not happy with the way things are going. Brought down well by the chest there from Tapini, but the pass was poor, intended for Tattersall. Gave it away to McLaughlin instead of Sorrento. They maintain possession through Cummings out on the far side. Stepping forward there is Jankalowski to win the ball and win the ball well. Not giving up the chase there was the Sorrento man, and they've won possession again. Morgan just overran that one and put an arm around the shoulder of his opponent. Balcatta will win the free kick. Another substitution coming for Balcatta. It's a double change. I'll do my best to get you those names. Looks like it'll be Tapini making way. I believe Nicholas Messina is one of the substitutes. Haven't quite figured out the other one for you just yet. Well, I'll let you know as soon as I do. It looks like Jankulovski will move to a more central position, what you expect from a man of his height. Perhaps fullback, usually reserved for the smaller, more nimble players. Headed over the top for an onside. Chris Jackson, clearly onside Chris Jackson on that occasion. He looks to find Tamata, but it's picked off by O'Connell, who is dangerous when he gets his head up. Rolls it into the path of Cornice. Cornice comes inside for Leach. Ball into the area. Takes a Sorrento touch. And there, in again, getting a Sorrento touch is the man with the brace. Sees the goalkeeper off his line. I did mention they want to keep an eye on that in this second half, and perhaps that's really just an effort from Chris Jackson to keep Lewis Italiano honest and say, look, I know where you're going to be. I know what you're wanting to do, and if you come too far, I'll just try and hit it straight over the top of you. It's clearly been the weakness here of Balcatta, and the intention of this Sorrento side has been all day to get the ball in behind, get it over the top. And it has worked to a T for the visitors. 2 goals, both of them scored by Chris Jackson. Tamata will challenge for this one with Tattersall, and the latter's arm was up illegally, according to Josh Manella. Sorrento will, again, take a breath, take their time, and get things restarted. What can Balcatta do to shake things up? The way things are going, they're not getting a lot of success. Hill rolls that one out wide. Sorrento attacking now down the left wing. Defender there, just trying to usher a Sorrento man wide. Stepping in and clearing there is Stevens. The other substitute for Balcatta is Joseph Marino. He's the man over there at right back. He'll not be able to get her there and prevent Hill from getting a cross in. Just a little high for Jackson. Couldn't get over it, couldn't get the header down. Score remains Balcatta 0, Sorrento 2. Further good news for Sorrento as Guelph have equalised at Floriat. 1-1 the score there. And a little shove in the back and a Sorrento foul. And that does make things really interesting. Sorrento now level on points with Floriat. And again, 8 weeks ago, who would have thought that would even be possible? Scores remain the same way as they are now. Floriat staring down the barrel of just 3 points picked up from a possible 18 after going undefeated for the first few months of the season. All wins, just a draw, and then, boy, have the wheels fallen off down at Athena. Again, the long ball over the top, looking for the run of Jackson. Geez, he'd be interested for a hat-trick there, wouldn't he? Just returning there from an offside position was Elliot Tattersall. A lot of action down at Bayswater Coburn. Bayswater leading that one 3-2. That ball in from Tamata. Looking for the would-be hat-trick hero. The keeper gets there first. Tattersall can't win that one. Brought down by Annis. Just coming out there and crashing into the back of Scaffetto as the Sorrento defence, and they get away with it. Tamata on the near side. Looking again for the long clip ball down the line. Morgan gets a toe in, but recovering well was Christian Jankulowski. Back to his keeper, who plays it out for Walsh on the near side. Walsh for Cornice. Balcatta, a lot of space in between the lines in midfield at the moment in this one, as teams throw players forward and then throw players back. The long ball looking for Morgan, headed away by Walsh. Leach comes in and picks it up. Jankulowski operating in his newfound centre-half position, for this game at least. O'Connell clips that one up into the air. A good physical battle there as Jonathan Cornice went sprawling. The ball finally does come into the box, or the attempt was for it to come into the box at least. It's a little wide, fielded now by Cornice. Clipped in, headed away. Leach will take it down. Balcatta settling into a spell of possession. I think Sorrento more than happy to let the hosts have the ball and then just try and put that first time ball in over the top for Jackson to run onto. It's been working a treat so far. If it ain't broke, why try and fix it? I'm sure that'll be their game plan for the remainder of this one. Quick turnover there. Picking it up is Roberts. He'll look to play the 1-2 there with Hill. He won't get there ahead of Jaffray. The final touch was off the Sorrento man. Of exchanges of possession in midfield. Still the ping pong goes on. No one can get a clear possession in the end. Balcatta retreat. And Italiano had the substitute sprawling there to keep that in. But it was kept in well, and ball down the line. Looking there for the run of Messina. He couldn't get there. Flick on by Jackson. Messina gets in, gives away a throw to Sorrento. Balcatta now with the throw. No one looked like they really wanted to make a play on that one. In the end, it came from McLaughlin, who comes away with it. Leaves it for Cummings, who rolls it there for Roberts, who looks to just touch and go around the Balcatta defender. But doing well enough was Walsh. Finds O'Connell. Now steps inside again. Walsh finds O'Connell again. Cornice. Hands up at the back post, looking for the long diagonal. Scaffetta. Balcatta comes shorter instead. Now it comes to Scaffetta. He's approached by Tamata. Comes inside. Couple of touches and eventually pulled the trigger, and perhaps wishes he hadn't. That's almost closer to the halfway line than the goal. See Michael Scaffetta there just wanting to take the shot, and just an extra touch, and then when he finally did, just caught it with the wrong part of the foot. Leach picking it up. He's been involved a lot in this second half, Jack Leach. Here he comes again. As I mentioned, the space in between the lines for both sides is there as Leach gives it away, and here it is for Sorrento. Striding forward there is Annis. They come back. Cummings looking to get on the charge now. Cummings rolls it out for Roberts. Roberts with a bit of time. Gets the ball into the box. It's cleared, but straight into the body of an attacker. Comes back out, but Balcatta managed to maintain possession. Here's Scafetta. Tamata's the defender. He rolls it past him, but stepping out and getting the ball there was McLaughlin. It comes back for Balcatta. O'Connell plays an absolute peach of a ball over the top there. Unable to get there just is Messina, the substitute. Certainly had fresh enough legs, just perhaps didn't get on his bike early enough. And in the end, the pass is slightly overhit from the Balcatta captain. This is the sort of thing that he can produce. We haven't seen enough of it. He was involved early and involved a lot, but he's faded out of the game as his side have faded out of the game. Whether that's a result or the cause, it's probably a bit of both. Here is Sorrento on the charge now. Jordan Roberts. Nicholas Walsh, the fullback, comes out to challenge. Roberts can't get past the Balcatta number 15, stuck to his task well. And now Walsh makes the run down the left wing. Tamata hustles back to provide more defensive cover for Sorrento. It's another goal for the Glory under-21s. They now lead the champions by 3-0. What a performance from them again. I mentioned their 5-0 win against Gwelup a couple of weeks ago. Now they lead 3-0 against the reigning champions. The first touch there was good from Cornice. The second touch wasn't. As he fired on goal, scuffed it into the arms of Connor Campbell. Bayswater Coburn now 4-2. Bayswater lead. Perth leading Armidale by 2-0. The same scoreline as it is here. So there will be no change as far as the top of the table if things stay as they are. But to further compound issues down at the bottom and further compound issues for Balcatta, Rockingham have equalised against Inglewood. Score there, 1-1 with 20 minutes to go, and that would be huge. And that would drag the hosts here. And in fact, I say it was 1-1. Rockingham have taken the lead, and we now have the situation where Balcatta are in the relegation spot. They are last. Still time for them to turn things around in this season. Still time for them to turn things around today, but it's looking less and less likely as the minutes tick by. Well, I say there's always a shock result or two in the NPL each week, and there would be no bigger shock than Rockingham turning over Inglewood. Certainly this weekend, anyway. Florrie at Gwelup remains 1-1. We'll keep our eye on that one. And that has ramifications for the visitors here. Turning inside there is Walsh and finding Leach again. Leach picks it up again. Little 1-2 with his fullback. O'Connell. Good ball from O'Connell there. Back out for Walsh. He takes a touch. He wanted to get a shot on goal, I'm sure, but the touch was too heavy. Clattering in there, making the tackle is Cummings. He'll look to pick it up again. In fact, this is Cummings. Further afield to the man that made the tackle. It was Ollie Annis. My mistake. I'm told I'm allowed one per week. There you go. Leach. And fire that one into the channels for Messina to get on the end of. Messina, his ball in. Causes problems there for the Sorrento goalkeeper. He didn't quite read that one, didn't get the flight of it, and flapped at it a little, the Gulls keeper. That one, hint of a handball there from Scafetta. Arm was close enough to the body, though, in Josh Minella's eyes. Sliding in to make an important tackle is Ryan McLaughlin for Sorrento. Another substitution coming for Balcatta, their fourth. They continue to ring the changes. It'll be Carmelo Giuffre to come off. He will be replaced by number 23 for the host. That is Matthew Alessandrino. Sorrento making a change as well. I believe that is Jordan Roberts coming off. And when I can catch the Sorrento player's number, I'll tell you who it is that has replaced him. The time continues to run down. Time is now becoming the enemy of the home side as it comes out for Cornice to get a strike on goal, and coming out there and climbing over his opponent there is Connor Campbell. Claims that one well. Sean Kilkelly, I believe, is a substitute, or I thought it was momentarily. It is Sean Kilkelly in midfield for Sorrento, number 4. Chris Jackson looking at play a little backheel pass down the line for Morgan. Deflects back off the Sorrento man for a Balcatta throw. Just making sure that he takes it from the correct spot. Cornice plays it back for Walsh, who lobs it down the line. Tamata wins the header against a retreating O'Connell. McLaughlin gets over and turns it over for a Balcatta throw. O'Connell will take it. Throws it long down the line. In the left wing corner now for Balcatta. Scafetta looks to run away there. Tried to feed it inside for Tattersall. He couldn't keep it. Back out now for Marino. It comes into Leach. Looks to play it for Walsh again. Slightly overhits it. The Balcatta fullback hustles to keep it in though. Still has it. Scafetta. Closed down by Morgan. Morgan will keep going. Scafetta keeps going as well and keeps the ball for his side. O'Connell, little 1-2 with Walsh. Walsh gets it back. Just played that pass in behind Tattersall there, and an important intervention there, and that'll be a penalty. That is a penalty. Clear from this angle. The goalkeeper sprawled. The touch was taken away from him. I believe it's the man with the ball in his hands now who made the run, made the touch. Jonathan Cornice, he will pick up the ball, he will put it down on the spot, and he will give Balcatta some hope of taking something out of this game. They need to, with Rockingham putting in the performance they are down at Inglewood. Connor Campbell shakes the net, attempting to put off the Balcatta number 10. Can Jonathan Cornice halve the deficit here? Yes. Balcatta 1, Sorrento 2. Connor Campbell dove the right way. He got a good hand to it, and he knows he should have done better, or at least feels he should have done better. It was well struck by the Balcatta penalty taker, Jonathan Cornice. He has pulled one back for the hosts. And that, if nothing else, certainly puts the cat amongst the pigeons, makes things nervous here for Sorrento. Tamata striding forward. His pass was ill-directed. He almost got back on the end of it. Marino read it well enough, and Balcatta can look to come the other way. There is still a point on offer, perhaps more for Balcatta. Oh, and a poor ball down the line. In a hand of apology. Oh, how about this? Goals are flying in around the grounds. Rockingham still lead by 2-1. Balcatta still bottom of the league as things stand, but just a goal away from putting Rockingham back in that position. No nonsense on this occasion from the Sorrento defence. Walsh, plenty of time to clip one up. Wanting to come there was Campbell, but opting to stay on his line. It'll be a Balcatta corner. They continue to push. Just a dozen or so minutes left, but that can be a lifetime with just a 1-goal lead. O'Connell will whip this in from the right corner. It's over the back and over the top and beats everybody. And that's a letdown for Balcatta. Connor Campbell to take the goal kick. Over the head of Cummings. Chance there to play the ball there into the run of Tattersall. He does get there now. Missed chance to clear for Sorrento. It'll be a Balcatta throw. And it is all the home side at the moment. They just need to be aware of that sucker punch, that counter ball over the top. Chris Jackson's already shown he's lethal when given a chance. Great ball in. And a real chance at the back post there for the substitute, who just couldn't get his header down. And what an important goal that could have been for Nicholas Messina as he rose and just couldn't quite get his head high enough to turn that one back across and into the Sorrento net. Still Balcatta 1, Sorrento 2. Kilkelly clears that one down the line. Balcatta throw again. They can't string 2 or 3 passes together at the moment, Sorrento. Whether that's by Balcatta outworking them or whether that's the strategy by design, I'm not sure, but they are certainly inviting pressure on at the moment. Balcatta continue to go. The substitutes heavily involved. Messina continues his run. Still with the ball, Nicholas Messina. Pulls it back, fired across, a chance, and O'Connell has missed by inches. Well, when that ball fell for Callum O'Connell, you would have thought the Balcatta captain was more likely to score than miss, and the cry from the crowd beside me is wakey, wakey, Sorrento. I think that is a call that really needs to be heeded by the Gulls. They have fallen asleep here. It is all Balcatta. They have barely set foot inside the Balcatta penalty box in, well, this whole half, in truth, apart from the goal. A little nudge in the back. Walsh gets away with that one on Morgan. Cummings unable to bring it down, and Leach picks it up. O'Connell just didn't quite get that one. There's the ball over the top they've been looking for all day. Not quite long enough. I'll tell you what, if it was, though, Jackson was on for his hat-trick. He's looking to turn and get that head of steam up. It worked a couple of times already. It's not working at the moment. Leach picks it up again. Comes back for Jankulovski. His long diagonal is ill-directed. Tamata will head that one down the line to nobody. And all those runs wide Morgan was getting to in the first half, perhaps just not able to get there with the tired legs in this second half. In and cleared. The flag is up on the far side for an offside, and that will just ease the pressure. And they're in no rush now to get things restarted. They are being pressured and pressured hard by the navy blue and red of Balcatta. A poor ball just invites more pressure on from the keeper. Flicked on and stepping out there well was David Stocko. They needed that intervention, but they've turned it over immediately again. O'Connell, chance to get his head up, clips it down the line. Tattersall looks to take a touch and step inside Ryan McLaughlin, but he slipped it. Well, that is about as clear a foul as you'll see. I don't think there was any malicious intent. The Balcatta man just unable to halt his momentum. Just crunching Jackson Tamata there, Jonathan Cornish. Stayed around to offer a hand of apology as a further indication. I don't think there's any malice in that. They're both players just full head of steam trying to win the game for their side. Jackson Tamata looks like he'll be okay to continue. And Sorrento soak up another 30 seconds. That's about all they can manage at the moment. Just soaking up time. Walsh wins the first header, wins the second. Stepping in there is Cummings. Cornish wins it for O'Connell. He drops the shoulder and goes around Hill. Great ball from Callum O'Connell out wide. Messina puts a ball in along the turf. It comes back out to Nicholas Messina. Gets a touch on it, but getting up first there was Oliver Annis. Haven't seen much of him in this second half either. Was getting forward in the first and looking dangerous, but Balcatta just forcing Sorrento back. Athena have retaken the lead against Gwelup. 2-1 the score there. Rockingham still lead by 2-1 down in Rockingham. The same scoreline here. Balcatta pressing for that equaliser. If they are going to get it, they're going to have to get it soon. Less than 10 minutes left in this one, plus whatever Josh Minella decides to add in terms of stoppages and injuries. And the whistle blows and another free kick for Balcatta. Leach is in a real hurry to take it, wants to get things moving quickly. Certainly have one side who wants to keep things ticking over. The visitors more than happy to slow things down and soak up time, I'm sure, if they get the chance. Balcatta aren't allowing them that chance at the moment. It's been a really impressive last half an hour by the hosts, after they were looking rather roughshod in the first half. And certainly when Sorrento doubled their lead early in the second, it looked like this one was going to be a formality. And Balcatta have dug in, made it anything but that. In fact, Callum O'Connell had the chance from not a lot more than 8 or 9 yards to turn one on goal. He just turned it wide of Connor Campbell's right goalpost. Walsh and Morgan both slipped there. Ball out for a Balcatta throw. Walsh takes it, O'Connell flicks it on, but Tamata's the only one there. He clips one over the top for Chris Jackson again, who is again flirting with that offside line. Stayed the right side of it on this occasion from a Sorrento perspective. Leach in his back. Walsh for company as well. And he's just looking to soak up a bit of time, keep it in the corner. It's surely a little bit too early for that. Walsh takes a quick throw in. Jankielowski turns quickly, plays for Italiano. Italiano, the Balcatta keeper, takes his opportunity to stride forward, slips as he kicks, but found Tattersall. Tattersall's touch is good enough. And that header there just flicked around the corner by Alessandrini, and Connor Campbell here will take all the time he's allowed before he's pressured into picking up the ball. Alessandrino provides that pressure, and now Campbell goes long. Towering header there from Jankielowski. O'Connell picks it up under pressure from Tamata. Leach looks to lob one down the line. It clears the head of the Sorrento defender. Messina can get a ball into the box. Chance for Cornish for his second. He couldn't get that one through. A fire strike on goal, and Balcatta have equalised. And it is the substitute, Elliot Tattersall, that gets the crowd on their feet. Well, you have to say it's been coming. Sorrento have sat deeper and deeper and deeper, and Balcatta have equalised. A sucker punch for the Gulls. Balcatta 2, Sorrento 2. And as Floreat retake their lead, Perth remain at 2-0. Dropping points here could be the end of things for Sorrento in terms of that unlikely push for a title. Still time, though, of course, for them to get that winner. Just a few minutes left, plus stoppage time. McLaughlin over to take it. Looks like he's going to load up the cannon and launch a long one into the box. That is what he does. Flicked on. Cleared away. I think that Balcatta defender, real mess at the back. Just nudging his opponent under it there. Is Messina. He can look to run onto this one. Getting there first is the Sorrento captain, Hill. He gets it back to Campbell, who clears. Well, what drama here. It was a reasonably dull opening half. Aside from the goal, it's exploded into life in these dying stages as Balcatta have come back from 2-0 down to equalise. Will there be more drama? Cornish turns. He scored the opener from the penalty spot, and he finds Callum O'Connell now. O'Connell has the scorer of the second outside him in Tattersall. Comes into the scorer of the first instead in Cornish. Back to O'Connell. O'Connell for Tattersall. Back to Cornish. And that is a long hit and hope to no one in particular from Jonathan Cornish. Well, how does this game swing now? Balcatta, they look like they're going to continue the press. They want to go for a winner, but a point for them is huge. Certainly far more important than the point for Sorrento. They really need all three here, and they'll know it. A little ricochet and a chance here for Morgan. He does get the ball, but turns it over. Flicked around the corner, and gee, that was close. I tell you what, that was not clear-cut whatsoever. Ryan McLaughlin was napping on this near side. He was about 5 yards further back than the next deepest defender, and just about played Nicholas Messina onside there. Very, very close call going Sorrento's way on this occasion. Italiano looking to get things going again. Balcatta believe here they can sense a winner. They are the only side in this at the moment. O'Connell throws it in for Cornish, back for Walsh. Morgan will close down Jankulovski, forces a poor pass. Stoko striding forward. Oh, surely a foul there, but the referee does well to allow the advantage for Sorrento. And then slips over to the joy of the crowd, Josh Minella. Messina looked to shoulder that one on the head of Kilkelly. He's sandwiched by a couple of Balcatta players. Chance for Cummings on the far side. It's not going to get through to him. Reading that really well was Italiano. Good positioning from the Balcatta goalkeeper. O'Connell's going to play this one down the line. Headed back by McLaughlin. Looking for Tamata. He does well enough to win Sorrento the throw. Sorry, it's Alessandrino, the number 23. I've been incorrectly calling Nicholas Messina, getting my substitutes mixed up. Tamata down the line. Headed on by Morgan, but out for another Balcatta throw. Sorrento still unable to maintain possession for any more than a couple of passes at the moment. The hosts are pressing. McLaughlin wins that header down. Snapping in is Cummings to win it back. Kilkelly turns for Sorrento. They desperately need a goal to keep their title hopes alive. Obviously, with 5 games to go, it's certainly wouldn't be over, but it would be very close. A chance here, and arriving at the back was Dean Cummings. Getting there first was the Balcatta captain, Callum O'Connell. Whistle blows, and not sure if something's been heard on the Balcatta bench. There's words going on from the linesman, and it looks like one of the Balcatta coaches who receives a yellow card for their troubles. Sorrento take the corner. The keeper comes initially. Header over the top. And that is the final whistle from Josh Manella. What a fight back from the hosts here today. It looked like it was going to be a formality when Chris Jackson, just like he did in the first half, early in the second, raced in behind the Balcatta back 4 and made it 2-0. And from there, a rash charge and a challenge from Connor Campbell conceded the penalty. Jonathan Cornish stepped forward and dispatched for Balcatta. And not long after that, we were level. Balcatta getting what could be a crucial point. A crucial point to fend off Rockingham. It's going to be tight down the bottom. I'll just pull up the table for you now. As things stand, they are back out of that relegation spot, but by just that point, I think. I don't think the ladder's updated, unfortunately. But Elliot Tattersall it was getting the equaliser for Balcatta. Unbelievable result. They are in fact just out of the bottom, out of the relegation spot by goal difference as it stands, Balcatta. So that point could be crucial. We will see what happens over the next 5 weeks. Sorrento, perhaps the dent that ends their unlikely title push. Still 5 weeks to go. Anything can happen. We will be back next week. Thank you for joining us on Football West live streams on YouTube and Facebook. I've been Sean Fry. Thanks for joining me again. The final score here at Greenwood Reserve, Balcatta 2, Sorrento 2. Yeah, I know. I remember you too. Can't forget that haircut. How you doing? You good? Staying out of trouble? That's good. Alright, I gotta run. See you next time.